What? Come on. People will still make fun of you if you spend an additional year retaking the entrance examinations to gain admission to a prestigious university. The entire family will be made fun of if my son marries someone who has a brother who just completed middle school, regardless of how great she is as a lawyer. I get chills just thinking about it. Given Jessica's remarkable history, I thought you were from an affluent family and that both of your siblings had completed college after your parents passed away. I should have investigated her brother. The fact that he just completed middle school is very embarrassing. I was shocked to hear these remarks from the individuals who would soon become my sister's in-laws. I never thought such things could be said. The relatives of this family continued to harass and abuse me during the wedding celebration. I can hardly express how shocked I was to discover the nameplate on the table. The words "middle school graduate loser" were scribbled clumsily across it in red marker. Rachel, my assistant, was astounded when she saw it as well. She grumbled, "If these are the people running that clinic, maybe it wouldn't be such a loss if it went under." The groom's family initially laughed, but as soon as they found out who I was and where I was now, I could see that their faces became pale. I'm 37 years old, and my name is Kevin Turner. My father's friend owns the medical equipment business where I work. Jessica is the name of my sister. I'm currently traveling to her wedding celebration. The 27-year-old Jessica is getting married to Adam. After completing medical school, he is currently employed at a university hospital as a surgeon. After Jessica, a hospital corporate lawyer, successfully settled a case in which Adam was accused of medical misconduct, she started dating him. As their relationship developed rapidly, they made the decision to tie the knot. I'll be going to Mom and Dad's grave soon to tell them the news. Yes, that is a wise decision. I said, I believe it's the right thing to do. Recollections of everything that had happened since our parents died came flooding back to me as I spoke these words to Jessica. 20 years or so ago. A house fire claimed the lives of our parents. Jessica was still in elementary school at the time, and I was a sophomore in high school. Our lives were completely upended by the unexpected death of our parents. We lost our place to reside when the fire destroyed our house. We'd briefly lived with Sean, a friend of my father's, but before I graduated from high school, we made the decision to move into an apartment. Sean had offered to stay until I graduated, but I persisted since I didn't want to be dependent on him any longer. Sean did his best to convince me to at least complete high school, but after much consideration, I had already made up my mind. We were able to pay for living expenses for a while thanks to the funds our parents had given us and the insurance money we received. A man named Nathan referred me to a job, which is how I got my first employment. I still have a lot of gratitude for Nathan. It was difficult to live each day with the burden of losing our parents and constantly worrying about money, but I advised Jessica to stop thinking about money and to continue living her life as she had before, always attempting to keep things positive. She learned that I had left high school to work when she got to middle school. Is attending high school truly acceptable for me? You're already working after all. She began to suggest things like, after middle school, shouldn't I start working too? What are you discussing? Why do you suppose I'm at work? It is my duty to assist you in maturing. Naturally, it is my responsibility to take care of you as your big brother. Yes, but you're the only one making sacrifices, aren't you? I wonder if this is acceptable. Don't consider it a sacrifice. Everything is all right. All I want is for you to attend high school and graduate stress-free. In addition, Nathan helped me land a job that I truly love, and I wasn't that excellent in school anyhow. What? Really? So that I can attend high school after all? Obviously. You're quite intelligent. Please do your best in school and continue to be the proud little sister I know you are. I get it. Big brother, I'm also proud of you. Jessica then focused entirely on her studies and continued on to high school. She was always very dedicated to her studies and constantly placed at the top of her class, perhaps because she felt appreciative of me. Nevertheless, she appeared determined to get employment after graduation, most likely out of consideration for me. During the three-way discussion with her teacher to discuss her future plans, she firmly stated, "I'm going to get a job after I graduate from high school." Her teacher, Mr. Thompson, appeared somewhat taken aback. With grades like Jessica's, she could easily get into a university that grants tuition exemptions and scholarships. He urged her, adding, "I understand your financial situation." Like Mr. Thompson, I did. Don't stress over tuition. Why you insist so much? Isn't Mr. Thompson even providing assistance? Well, it's hard to know you're making sacrifices for me. Don't you have things you want to do? You're putting everything aside just to prioritize me. I can't be the only one who gets to finish high school and then go to college. And even with scholarships, they wouldn't cover everything. I'll cover whatever is missing. My performance at work is being recognized, and my salary is expected to go up soon, so covering your tuition won't be an issue. Look, don't think twice about it. If your grades were only good enough to get into a second-tier college, like mine were even after working hard, I wouldn't be saying all this. But with your current grades, you can get into a great university. That'll open up so many more opportunities for you. If it makes you feel better, we can treat whatever I cover as a loan. When you get a good job after graduating, then you can pay me back. Do you know how many years it would take me to get through college? You'd be living on a tight budget all that time. Are you really okay with that? Come on, we've supported each other since we lost Mom and Dad. There's no reason for you to hold back. If you're willing to go that far, then I'll go to college. Thank you. Really? Thank you, big brother. Though it took some persuasion, Jessica finally agreed to pursue further education. Seeing our conversation, Mr. Thompson discreetly dabbed his eyes with a handkerchief. Jessica declared she would aim for the law school at a prestigious university. It was one of the toughest programs in Japan to get into, but Jessica faced the pressure head-on and passed the entrance exams on her first try. She graduated with honors, never needing to repeat a course. While in university, she passed the preliminary legal exam and later the bar exam as well. She was so exceptional that I sometimes wondered if we were even related. Then she joined her current law firm during a summer clerkship, and after the exams, they offered her a position without hesitation. Now, Jessica is a highly successful attorney. At the time, I didn't understand why she wanted to become a lawyer. It turned out that seeing me struggle with legal paperwork after our parents passed away, and we lost our home, left her feeling helpless. She wanted to use her knowledge to help others in need, just like we had been. When I first learned of Jessica's motivation, I was truly moved by her thoughtfulness. If she hadn't gone to college, she wouldn't have become the lawyer she is today. I'm incredibly grateful to Mr. Thompson for encouraging her to continue her education. And I'm glad I convinced her. Adam, Jessica's fiancé, also knew about our history. It seems he was drawn to Jessica not only for her skills as a lawyer, but also for her sincerity, which led him to ask her out. I've heard a lot about you from Jessica, how you stepped in to protect her after your parents passed away. Oh please, protect is a bit much. We've simply helped each other along. I replied modestly, though I felt incredibly proud of the woman Jessica had become. I deeply wish for Jessica's happiness. With this marriage, I plan to celebrate it wholeheartedly. But reality can be harsh, and one concern weighed on me. I had the opportunity to meet Adam along with his parents for a formal introduction and face-to-face meeting. However, during that encounter, something happened that made me feel uneasy. The meeting took place at the restaurant of the hotel where the two of them planned to hold their wedding reception. Adam's father, Keith Knox, is also a doctor and runs his own clinic. He appeared to be in his early 60s, with his intelligent yet somewhat intense demeanor making him look every bit the part of a physician. I informed Mr. and Mrs. Knox that I was there on behalf of our late parents. I've heard about your parents from Adam. It must have been a challenging time for both of you. Yes, we did go through difficult times, but looking back now, it wasn't all bad. Oh my, such a mature perspective for someone so young. I'd expect nothing less from the brother of the accomplished Jessica. No, no. Jessica's always had it together compared to me. She's done so much better. She makes me look inadequate in comparison. I wasn't just being modest, I genuinely meant it. Jessica truly is the kind of sister where finding a flaw is nearly impossible. Even so, raising Jessica in place of your parents and supporting her through a top university, your own background must be quite impressive. Yes, surely that's the case. So, what do you do for a living now? I'm currently working at the company of a friend of my late father's. The moment I answered, the smiles on their faces vanished. And what kind of work do you do there? I mainly handle sales and distribution for medical equipment. Sales and distribution at a medical equipment company. If you don't mind me asking, which university did you attend? I didn't go to university. I joined my current company after dropping out of high school. What? Wait just a moment. When they said that, the two of them briefly glanced at Adam and Jessica, as if to observe their reactions. It was just the moment when Adam and Jessica were prompted by the venue staff to preview their wedding outfits, so they were about to head over there. Once the two had left, their expressions turned harsh, and they leaned toward me, closing the distance. Tell me, are you saying you didn't even graduate from high school? Yes, that's right. So you only have a middle school education? Yes. This is unbelievable. Had we known, we wouldn't have approved of this marriage. Indeed, even now, we should consider halting things and discuss this again as a family. Now hold on. The wedding date has already been announced. Calling it off now would be difficult. Besides, Jessica remains an ideal bride. Yes, she's not the problem here. Excuse me, but what exactly are you trying to say? Don't act like you don't know. You're a huge problem. Look, we run a clinic, and our entire family is well established. Many run businesses or hold senior positions in large corporations. Every single one of them attended a reputable university. It's a basic expectation. Ha, I see. You say that response is just so lacking. Don't you understand what we're getting at? I knew they weren't happy with my educational background, but their abrupt change in attitude left me too stunned to respond properly. In our family, it's considered shameful if someone even has to repeat a year to get into a good university. You probably don't understand, but having a questionable academic record is already a disgrace. Well, there's nothing I can do about it. Let me be clear. Even someone who has to retake exams to get into a top school would be laughed at if people knew our son married a woman with a middle school graduate brother. Just the thought of the ridicule makes me shudder. I assumed you came from a wealthy family and that both siblings would have attended university. Even after losing your parents, I thought Jessica's impeccable background made it unnecessary to investigate you. I never expected, never even imagined, you be a middle school graduate. It's truly embarrassing. The words were so humiliating I was left speechless. Still, with things this far along, in that case, we'll inform the family that Jessica and you are only nominally related, a mere formality. You must promise never to claim you raised her in place of your parents. Do you understand? What? Excuse me? I replied, stunned. Don't act so resistant. People like you, once part of the family, always find ways to beg for money or sneak into inheritance plans. I'm sure you'd do something like that. Exactly. Listen closely. This is a warning. You will not loiter around Jessica, nor will you bring up loans or investments to us. I expect you to promise this here and now. If you don't, we'll cut ties immediately or, better yet, have our lawyer ensure you can't get near us. This isn't a threat. Do you understand? I couldn't believe these words were coming from Jessica's future in-laws. I'd never experienced such an insulting encounter. I barely managed to hold back my anger and remained there quietly. If I let Jessica know the humiliation I just endured, it might disrupt her relationship with Adam. They're a perfect match, and the last thing I wanted was for their relationship to fall apart. There's no need to worry. I won't ask you or Jessica for any money in any form, now or ever. Poof. We'll remember you said that. Any suspicious behavior, and we won't hesitate to take action. But there's one thing I must make clear. Jessica and I have supported each other all these years. No matter your request, I won't cut ties with her. I'm not going to stop seeing her, and I won't compromise on that. What an outrage. This is nothing short of harassment. You should contact a lawyer right away. Mrs. Knox spat angrily. Just as Mrs. Knox was about to berate me further, Adam and Jessica returned after checking their wedding attire. The Knoxes instantly put on cheerful expressions, as if nothing had happened. From that point on, both the Knoxes and I maintained our composure in front of the couple, somehow getting through the interaction. Until the day of the wedding reception, I naturally didn't have any more encounters with the Knoxes. I hadn't shared a word with Jessica about what had transpired that day. However, I had told the woman accompanying me to the reception, Rachel, about it. Rachel is an important partner to me, both personally and professionally. We plan to marry soon, and she's close to Jessica as well. Jessica had also invited her, so she was attending the reception with me. At first, I hadn't intended to tell anyone about the humiliation I experienced with the Knoxes, but Rachel quickly sensed something weighing on me. Deep down, I think I wanted someone to listen, so I ended up confiding in her. So today's the day you're going to put those horribly rude in-laws in their place, right? Rachel asked, grinning. What? No way. If I did that, it would ruin the ceremony. Besides, I'm not interested in taking any action that would disrupt the day, regardless of what's happened. Oh, what a shame. I thought you brought me along as backup for just that reason. Come on, this isn't some showdown. Ah, boring. Well, it didn't insult me directly, but it still ticks me off. Still, it's Jessica's big day, so I won't do anything too wild. Maybe I was too hasty in sharing this with you, I said, laughing. We looked at each other and laughed. Rachel's fiery spirit sometimes threw me off, but more often than not, she had my back. Having her by my side gave me a sense of security in many ways. When we arrived at the venue, we began looking for the seats reserved for the bride's family. Since Adam is a doctor and Jessica a lawyer, the wedding was extravagant, with many guests in attendance. Even from across the room, I quickly spotted the Knoxes seated at the far end of the groom's family section. I made sure to avoid direct eye contact with them to prevent any unnecessary confrontation. There they are at the far end. They're looking over here with the most spiteful smiles, Rachel informed me, keeping an eye on the Knoxes. Figures. Well, if all I have to endure are a few laughs from them, that's fine. The most important thing today is celebrating Jessica and Adam. I don't want to waste a thought on anything trivial. With that, we found Rachel's seat first. Then I looked at the nameplate on the seat beside hers, where I assumed mine would be. What? My mind went blank. Where my name should have been written, there was no sign of it. Instead, scrawled messily in red marker were the words, "Middle school graduate loser." No one but the Knoxes could have pulled off a childish prank like this. I instinctively shot a glare toward the groom's family section. The Knoxes, along with a few nearby family members, were watching me and bursting into laughter. Clearly, my academic background had become a source of amusement among the relatives. The Knoxes must have set this up in advance, informing everyone and watching to see my reaction as I discovered the nameplate. Their sense of humor was truly revolting. Seeing me freeze momentarily upon reading those words only seemed to make them laugh harder. Mrs. Knox was even clapping her hands in delight, laughing openly. What awful people. But with the venue bustling with lively conversations and the occasional cheer, no one else seemed to notice the scene at their table. I decided to leave without taking my seat. If I sat there quietly, they'd continue laughing at me endlessly. And who knows, this might just be the start, with more insults lined up. As much as I regretted it, I couldn't endure any more humiliation. However, Rachel quickly came after me, grabbing my arm to stop me. "You've been holding back all this time just to celebrate Jessica and Adam today, right? Don't forget how Jessica would feel if she noticed you weren't there." "Yeah, you're right. If I was going to get angry, I should have done it the first time they insulted me. I promised myself I'd hold it in for Jessica and Adam, but I was about to totally lose it. If you hadn't been here, I'd have stormed out by now. Thank you." Ignoring the sneers and finger-pointing from the Knoxes, I focused back on the celebration. Before long, the bride and groom, our main stars, entered the room to enthusiastic applause. The guest speeches began soon after, starting with Dr. Smith, the director of Adams Hospital, and then Miss Taylor, the head of Jessica's law firm. We also heard from friends and the groom's family members. But then, as all the speeches finished, I realized my turn had never come. Jessica had asked me to give a speech, and I prepared it with my whole heart. Even though the groom's family speeches had concluded, none of the staff had come to let me know it was my turn. When I checked with one of the nearby staff, they gave me a surprising response. After confirming, it appeared that just before the ceremony began, one of the groom's family members requested that the bride's family representative's speech be canceled, stating it wasn't prepared. So it was removed from the schedule. I turned my gaze back to the Knoxes. Sure enough, they were whispering to each other, laughing quietly while looking my way. I'd reached my limit. I moved along the wall, trying not to interrupt anything, making my way over to where the Knoxes were. Rachel followed me silently. The Knoxes looked at me with eyes full of disdain. "What on earth are you trying to pull, huh?" "What are you talking about? I think the question is better asked of you. Do you really not remember what I told you the other day?" "What? Just what are you talking about?" "Oh, really? Have you forgotten already, or do you just lack the understanding? If so, that's truly unfortunate." They waved their hands as if brushing me off. "What do you think you're doing, canceling my speech like that? Don't be ridiculous. The fact that you'd even consider speaking is absurd. Once we realized you intended to go through with it, we had no choice but to take proper measures. Having an uneducated man speak at my son's wedding would be a lifelong embarrassment. We're simply doing what any responsible parents would do." Around us, I noticed some of the groom's family stifling laughs. "And what right do you have to insult me? Did you really think you could be treated as an equal? Know your place, you worthless fool. Don't talk to me again. I'll be handling this legally. If you approach us or our family again, we'll make sure you pay for it. Keep that in mind." As I trembled with anger, barely holding back a shout, Rachel, who had been watching silently, finally spoke. "Mr. Turner, I never imagined they'd be so rude. I'm truly shocked. I don't think you need to hold back any more about the clinic's future business. And who are you to interfere in family matters?" "Oh, I was merely giving Mr. Turner my business opinion." "Excuse me, Mr. Turner? Who you think you're talking about?" "I wasn't speaking to you. This is between Mr. Kevin Turner and myself. Please don't trouble yourself with our conversation." "What? Mr. Kevin Turner?" "Yes, the man standing before you is the president, Mr. Kevin Turner." "Oh, so he's some small-town company president now? And what does this grand president plan to do?" Rachel pulled up the company president greeting page on her phone and handed it to Keith. At first, Keith looked at it reluctantly, with a hint of skepticism in his eyes. But then his expression suddenly tightened. "Honey, what's wrong? Isn't this the medical equipment company our clinic works with?" "No way. I'm not falling for such a lousy joke." "That's fine. After all, this is just my phone. Why don't you check on your own device?" Flustered, he pulled out his own phone and quickly found my company's page. As he reached the president's introduction with my picture, His face turned pale. No, this has to be some kind of trick. With that, Keith stood up, turned his back to us for a moment, and seemed to start talking to someone on his phone. He was likely calling someone at his clinic to confirm if what we said was true. Last month, I had taken on the role of president of this company at the request of a friend of my father's. I had only recently stepped into this position. The daughter of my father's friend is Rachel. This friend, to whom I owe a great debt, had been in poor health for a while and had decided to pass the company to his daughter. He also expressed his wish for me and Rachel to marry. It's been nearly 20 years since I, a middle school graduate, started working at this company. Now, I know more about the inner workings here than anyone else. He said he couldn't imagine entrusting his daughter to anyone else but me. I proposed to Rachel, and we decided to marry, determined to build up the company together. Now Rachel and I are essential partners both in life and business. While her official title is secretary, she is, in effect, my co-manager. Her influence in the company is as strong as mine as president. With Rachel speaking so decisively, I knew our company could end its contract with the clinic at any time. The immediate cessation of business with the clinic won't impact our company. Very well. Let's proceed with that right away. Wait. You don't need to decide something so crucial here on the spot, do you? Let's take a moment to talk things over calmly. Oh, that's odd. Weren't you the one who said any further discussions would have to go through lawyers and that I'd be liable if I spoke too hastily? I'd be too terrified to answer lightly. Well, how impudent. Mr. Turner has said he doesn't want to supply products to a clinic run by people like you. Feel free to reject our business if you prefer. Well, I have never heard such rude words from a woman. She's like a monster. A monster. I think you're the far scarier ones here. My goodness. Say something to them, will you? Enough. You stay out of this. You're only complicating things, Keith said, holding his head in his hands. Lost deep in thought, he kept shifting his gaze back and forth between me and his family members, genuinely torn between preserving his clinic's success and upholding his family's honor. I couldn't understand the concept of preserving family pride to such an extent. This just won't do. The fact that you're a middle school graduate is unacceptable. Our family prides itself on being highly educated. But could we renegotiate the terms to continue the deal? We'd even pay extra for the equipment if we could keep doing business. If we lose this contract, it would be a real issue for us. After all, finding a new business partner isn't easy for either of us, right? Don't you agree? I heard Rachel sigh deeply. This conversation is over. After delivering our current products, we'll be terminating our business relationship with your clinic. You're free to find other suppliers for your medical equipment needs. What? I'm offering this after all, but that's your response. And from someone who didn't even finish high school. There was no hope here. Exasperated, I turned away without a word. In that instant, he snapped. You bastard, he yelled, lunging at me from behind. Caught off guard, I lost my balance and leaned back. It was at that moment. What are you doing? I looked back to see that Rachel had deftly blocked his hand, knocked him off balance with a sweep of her leg, and sent him sprawling to the floor. The room fell silent as people turned to see what had happened, but Rachel calmly explained to the staff that he'd stumbled in his drunken state. Looking over to the relatives' table, I saw the groom's family wide-eyed and silent, watching us without a word. I turned and returned to my seat. Rachel sat next to me, looking as if nothing had happened. The ceremony continued smoothly from there. The staff graciously arranged a last-minute slot for me to give my speech near the end of the event, and the room filled with applause. Seeing the bride and groom's happy faces filled me with emotion. That was such a heartfelt and beautiful speech. It truly showed how much you care for Jessica. Thank you so much for today. I was genuinely grateful to have shared this day with Rachel. A few days after the wedding, Our company officially terminated its contract with his clinic. While the clinic may now struggle with equipment shortages that affect patient care, it's no longer my concern. When Adam learned the truth, he came to me in tears, apologizing for his parents' rudeness. I assured him I had no intention of making a big deal of the matter, and that things between us wouldn't change. Relieved, he went home. Later, however, I heard from my sister that he'd severed ties with his family. With Jessica's support, he'd taken legal steps to ensure that any contact from his family would incur penalties. He'd learned from his relatives' own overuse of legal threats and swiftly turned the tables on them. To be honest, I was truly relieved. I believed that Jessica and her husband cutting ties with those relatives was for the best. Next up is you two. Yes, you and Rachel deserve happiness too, big brother. Right? I can't wait to see Rachel as a bride. She's going to look stunning. Lately, I've been getting more and more gentle nudges from my sister and her husband, urging me to marry Rachel. Rachel and I exchanged a smile, saying, "One of these days." Grateful for this happiness, I threw myself into my work with renewed dedication.